Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that really feels good, because that's ultimately what we all want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Amy is out today, so we're going to be taking some time to talk with one of my best friends. As I've said before, when I meet people with inspiring stories, I want to share those stories with you because I want you to feel inspired too. Today, my friend Dawn Rasmusson and I are going to be talking about health and fitness. But we're not talking about it from a medical point of view or from a view where we know best. We're not going to be advising you. Instead, we're talking about creating health and fitness when you're in your 50s and 60s. We're just going to be talking about how we navigate health and vitality as we've gotten older. We're not saying it's right or wrong or good or bad. This is just our experience that we want to share with you. We're going to be talking about the limiting voices inside our head when we're up against ourselves, up against a slowed metabolism, diminished willpower or discipline. And we're going to be talking about putting on the extra pounds and what it takes to take them off. Is it even possible once you're in your 50s or in your 60s? So stick around. But before we get to that, I want to remind you that if you have questions that you'd like us to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. Look, you don't need to suffer. There are answers and solutions and ways to get unstuck and move forward powerfully. Now, usually we take time to answer someone's email, but I want to take some extra time with our guest today. So let's go to a commercial break right now, and we'll be back to talk health and fitness in our 50s and 60s with my friend, Dawn Rasmussen. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. So glad you're here, and I'm excited to talk with my guest today, who also happens to be one of my dear friends, Dawn Rasmusson. But we're talking about a subject today that is going to be applicable to a lot of you out there. We're talking about health and fitness and vitality when you get into your 50s and 60s, because bodies change. So we're just going to share kind of our experience, tell you what we've been going through, and maybe there's going to be something here that works for you. So anyways, welcome to the show, Don.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate
Yes.
it. I've loved all of your shows so far.
Good.
Very inspiring.
Good. Well, so you and I have been on we got a long journey of health and fitness and working out and taking care of our bodies, and it's kind of been a journey, right? Ups and downs.
Absolutely.
But the reason why I wanted to have you on the show is because you've been in the middle of a transformation personally, in my opinion, anyways. And a few years ago, you were living down in Portland. You had been in Chelan, Madison area for a lot of years. You moved to Portland for a few years. And tell us a little bit about what happened there before you came back.
Well, real quick, so I've done an Ironman before. I've done a bunch of triathlons. I was a bodybuilder when I was younger, power lifter. So I've always been really strong. And when I was younger, I thought, when I get older, I'm never going to be like old people. I'm just going to be strong forever. I could eat anything I want. And I have found out after the age of 55, I'm 61 now, that I cannot do that any longer, and that I actually have to exercise. So when I did a lot of training in Chelan before I left here, and when I went down to Portland, I had a bunch of surgeries on my knees through meniscus. And every time I tried to train again, my knees would swell up and I couldn't do anything. So I got heavier and heavier, older and older, metabolism slowed down, I couldn't eat anything. And so I have a 12-year-old, and he kept looking at me like with this look of, my dad's really old. My dad can't play tennis with me. My dad can't run with me. Oh, my knees. Oh, I can't walking upstairs. So through his eyes, I felt really bad that I couldn't hang with my son and play sports with him, or, do races to the car after a restaurant. So It was motivational for me. It was painful. It was really painful to see that look like, wow, you are just an old man. At 61, having a 12-year-old, that doesn't always happen. But so it motivated me, and a friend of mine, a friend of ours, Craig Elsner, actually showed me a new workout routine that was knees over toes. A great place to go to help with knees. And sure enough, it did. Plus, I wasn't running. I was just swimming and biking. So I just did that. And then when I knew I was coming back to Chelan, I knew most of my friends, you, Craig, and a lot of other friends, were they practice being healthy and working out. And so I knew that, I would be around that and that I needed to get in shape so I could actually do that with...
And how did you feel? Like in Portland, you said you put on some weight, you weren't working out at the level you wanted to. How did that feel mentally and emotionally for you?
It was sad. I was sad a lot of the time because I did not see this coming. And I would have put $1 million on that. It'd be strong forever. I'd be able to work out at any time and just pull out a 20-mile bike ride or a mile swim. And I didn't, and it was nothing short of heartbreaking, really.
Yeah.
Especially, just knowing I was coming back and wouldn't be able to do the things that I love doing, and I love exercise. I love exercise.
Yeah. Now you did come back, and I remember at some point it seemed like something changed in your thinking. Was there a decision you made, and if so, what was that decision?
Well, I guess the main decision was that I really want to live a long time. I just, all of a sudden, it was just like this really strong, like, I'm getting old. Like, I'm on the backside of my life it was like 58, 59. And my dad had passed away with completely clogged arteries and stuff like that at age 58 or 59. And I was there. Like I'm living on borrowed time, right? And so it was like, I want to live, and I want to live a quality life. Quality for me was being healthy and being able to just knock out a 20-mile bike ride or a mile swim. And, I would love to run. That's not quite on the agenda yet. I have quite a few more pounds to lose before I put any weight on the knees. But the feeling was really sad. And it was like, and the fact that I have 3 other boys that they are healthy and they like sports, and I would just sit on the sideline. And I remember my dad getting old and not being able to do that. Come on, Dad, let's go. And then he would say no, and he would just sit in the background watching me do sports and play. And like, I wanted him to do that. And for me and my boys, I loved to mix it up, play volleyball with them, go out and swim, paddleboard. I just like being with them, doing that kind of stuff. So that was what was motivational for me. And as I did that, my knees did not blow up on me. It was kind of an accident with what the knees over toe piece was. And I kept getting stronger, and I kept getting, being able to go further and swim longer. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually on my way. I'm gonna do this thing. And the more and more I do it, the more and more I want to do it.
Yeah, you get on that cycle of momentum, right? Right. And this feels good. I want to do more. Right. Yeah. What did you after you made that decision? You just didn't jump into a 20-mile bike ride. What was like a baby step in between there?
A baby step was I did bike rides around the neighborhood. I did some hill climbs. I mean, I was so afraid that because my last Ironman, I was training for the next Ironman, and my knees went, and I got Baker cyst, and I had surgeries, and each time that I've tried to get back on it, I tried to go right back into training, hard, running, biking, and my knees would always flare up, and that would be painful. So this time I didn't add the running, and it worked, right?
Yeah.
Not like I know what was going on or how to do it. I didn't. I just kind of bumbled into it, and eating was a big part of it also. The change in my eating habits and stuff like that. But the main thing was doing training, becoming more muscular and more stronger in order to support what I wanted my body to do.
Yeah, and we just have a couple of minutes left in this segment, but what I want people to really take away and hear what you said was that you started by riding around the neighborhood.
Yep.
You just got back on the bike and was like, I'm not cranking out 20 miles today, but I'm going to go around the block a few times or explore this neighborhood, take it easy. Yep. It was really like getting, as cliche as it sounds, but getting back on the horse again, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was, and that was, but for me, it was kind of easy. I mean, it's hard, and I see people struggle with that. I don't want to mislead anybody. It was fun for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I love doing it. So I'm like, for me, it was kind of easy, but it is a struggle until you get into it and you start getting those big endorphin rushes. And I'm not saying it's kind of easy for me. I like it. I love it. So
yeah. But you started with baby steps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Talk to us about. We just got another minute. We'll pick up in the next segment, but begin to tell us. You had to make some changes in the way you were eating as well, right?
Yeah. So the main thing was cutting the sugar out. Not that I have completely, but cutting sugar out, the simple carbohydrates, fats. Fats and sugars was the main thing, and drinking a lot more water to flush my body out a lot. I'm doing 60 to 80 ounces a day, which is a big help.
Yeah.
But and that's a bottom line. It doesn't. What I'm doing now, I could not have done without changing eating habits. And not that I'm still doing simple carbohydrates and sugars, but I'm doing less of them and trying to figure out a way to try to manage those to get to the next level that I'm wanting.
Yeah, and I think that's important for people to hear. It's not about like going from 0 to 60. It's like, I'll reduce the level of sugar, or I'll reduce my carbs, right?
Yeah.
Or I'll start with I'll start paying attention to my portion size.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not getting radical, right?
Nope.
Not getting extreme, but just beginning to pay attention more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, good stuff. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, so stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. We're talking today with Mr. Don Rasmusson, a good friend of mine. We're talking about health and fitness in your 50s and 60s. He's just sharing a little bit about his journey. And so we were talking about eating because we love to eat. So tell me a little bit about what was the challenge there. What did you experience in that arena?
So, actually eating is actually my biggest struggle with it. I enjoy fats and sugars. My body, and meat. I love meat. And so it's a big struggle for me. At nighttime, oh God, I love to snack. The main thing that I've gotten to right now, and it's not completely, I have no control over it whatsoever at this time, but I'm trying to manage it to a point where I was at 232 when I started this whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm back down to about 208 now, able to... Which
is significant.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge, and it's a win. It's a complete win. And I'm standing on that. I'm using that a lot to continue what direction I'm going. And what I want to do is another Ironman, and so it's going to take me dropping another 25 pounds. And a lot of people will just go, "Oh, it's too much," or "it's too skinny." It's like, nope. Actually, I have to go there for the type of health and what I want to do with my life going into my 70s.
Yeah.
Because I want to basically fly into my 70s really strong, being able to try to do some of the same things I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I want to pause there for a second because I love that imagery of flying into your 70s. And that's 9 years away. But the idea of preparing to fly in, because a lot of people, when they think of going into their 70s, are like, I'm winding things down.
Nope.
I'm winding things down. So what you're talking about is like, I want that decade to be feel good, awesome, productive.
Yeah. That's a visualization exactly of my 70s. You know what? Maybe my body can't do what I want it to do, but I want to have all the tools in my toolbox to at least give me a good shot of still doing triathlons, still running. I would love to try to swim once a day, just every day, wake up, knock out a mile in my 70s, and really be able to travel and do the things I want to do, and I want it at that level of health.
Yeah, really cool. And for those of you listening, again, the takeaway that I'm hoping for you is that it's possible. Like, yeah, things feel different in your 50s and 60s. Your body's doesn't work or respond necessarily the way it did in your 30s and 40s, but it's possible, and you don't have to knock out a mile swim or do a 20-mile bike ride. Whatever works for you, right? But the takeaway is like, it's possible, and you just start taking action.
Right. I'd like to mention, your body does change. I want to. It doesn't do the same things it did when you were younger, and it's testosterone goes down, your metabolism goes down with that level of testosterone, and it goes down, and it just happens. But I believe that we can naturally hang on to what we have left, or maybe even increase it. I don't know medically, that's just my belief. And I've been able to do that through eating and exercising. And it's hard. It's hard. And so, but so far, the rewards of it have been, like my son, when I was playing volleyball with him, I was peppering with him and hitting the ball back and forth, and he mishit one, and I chased it down, and he just lit up and said, "Oh my God, you are getting so quick!" Like before, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it was actually heartbreaking for me to not hang with my son at that level, and to see him go, "Wow, you've gotten quick!" Like, oh, so.
Yeah. It's fun when we notice our progress, and it's definitely fun when other people notice your progress, especially like your son. Like, geez, Dad, you used to be so slow, right?
Yep, that was the look. That was, wow.
Yeah, surprise. Whoa, what happened?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. So tell me a little bit about mindset. What keeps you going? Like, where's your mindset at? Because without mindset, we're dead in the water.
So for me, it comes, I love this. I love doing a bike ride in 90-degree weather, doing hill climbs. I mean, for a lot of people, it's really hard. For me, I love it. A lot of my time in the daytime is just spinning. What am I going to do financially, socially, with my wife, with my family? And when I get out there, I'm focused on heart rate, body, my muscles, fatigue, water, carbos, and for a little while, I get to kind of leave that behind. In fact, me and Fletcher had mentioned to me that his thinking on that was, I don't have to do that anymore. I can just get away from all that and disconnect from it. And so, I think you hit it on the nail on the head on the nail. That I think that's why I'm doing it, and so that's what I've been doing, actually.
Yeah. And I think you also have an inspiring vision that carries you through. You do have ambitions of doing another Ironman, right? And you also are focused on living a feel-good life into your 70s.
Right.
So you've got this inspiring vision that compels you, it pulls you forward, right? And it's easier to get into action if you've got something that's exciting to you.
Yes. So that's great. That's exactly. So what I do, what I've always done my whole life is visualize. I actually have visualized, it's actually kind of funny, going into my 80s, and I see myself actually passing away in a rose garden, boom, in my garden. I mean, that's where my visualization goes to, is step by step by step. And I've kind of laid all of this out of what's going to happen, and it's kind of unfolding the way I visualized it.
Nice.
But it's bit by bit, minute by minute, hour by hour.
Yeah.
So my goal is, real quick, is to do another Ironman when I'm 65. right? So I have 4 years in order to do what I need to do. I'm not in a hurry. My main reason is I'm in a different age group, and I could qualify for Kona. So that's
but that's a good thing for our audience to hear too. We're not in a hurry.
Nope.
We're taking our time.
Yep.
Again, we want to be sensitive to our body's ability to heal, right? We don't want to rush and push. We may have done that in our younger years, like rushed and pushed and got to do it tomorrow, and now we're like, oh, we're taking a longer position on this endeavor. Like I'm training for this event, and I'm training for a long life.
Right, and I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
I've kind of got a second shot at being my body being young and feeling that level of training again. I don't want to mess it up. This guy is constantly wanting to play pickleball and tennis with me, and I've got to back away from that because I need to protect what I have and where I'm at right now. I'm hoping that I can at one time crush him at tennis and pickleball, but I have to take it slow, like you were saying.
Yeah. So for people who are listening in their 50s, 60s, beyond, what would you like them to know? What would you like to say to them about their health and fitness? Because a lot of people get to a point where like, this is done. Yeah. There's no recovering from this. I can't get back in shape.
So yeah, I'm really connecting with that. So there was a time where it was like, okay, well, I'm just one of those guys again. I'm like my dad. I had a good run. I did an Ironman. I've been bodybuilder, power lifter. I've just been lots of, but it was like the main visual was what was out in front of me. What plan did I have for my 60s, 70s, and 80s? And that is the most, and visualizing what that looks like with my sons, my wife, and my friends, and what I do. And I have a picture of what that looks like. And that's really what motivates me and keeps me going. I want to be, I've watched my, both Craig and Fletcher do training that I couldn't, go on hikes that I couldn't. And that really was heartbreaking for me to not be able to do that and do the things that I really wanted to do. So that is a big piece of what gets me up and gets me out on my bike or in the pool.
Yeah, being able to do those fun things.
Yep.
With people you enjoy hanging out with.
Yep.
And the other thing is mobility feels so good, doesn't it?
Yep.
It feels so good.
Yeah, I can jump. I can. My lateral movement is a lot stronger and quicker, and it's just different. And it feels. I'm not quite back when I was in my 40s and stuff like that because of the weight. I'm still 20 pounds overweight from where I should be to feel what I want to feel.
Yeah.
And I'm okay. I'm taking my time. I'm not being hard on myself, right?
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
At all. And it's like I'm trying something and then seeing what shows up, right?
Yeah.
And then practicing, that works and that one didn't. The main thing is not being hard on myself because what I'm asking for is a lot at this age.
Yeah. So you're practicing self-compassion, right?
Yep.
Right on, dude. Okay, that's all the time we've got. Thanks for being on the show and sharing that. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and now you know what it's time for. It's time for you to get out there. Be a source of kindness. Be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.